you upload it, they will come.
Hey, what's up, guys? Your boy Rodney383, Anime Real Talk TV, and today we got the duo back.
What's up, people? Your boy Ziploc is back again. Sorry for last week.
hey, you know, things happen, and today we're gonna review Game of Thrones Episode 6. Oh man, there was some holy shit moments. We'll get there. However, let's start with, you got Sam and Craster's daughter, and I'm just gonna say it like off jump. Annoying. And that's it. I don't care. I don't care about Sam. I'm sorry. I'm told that he's gonna redeem himself and be badass in some type of way, but I would prefer not to see him on any level. That's just me. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's kind of getting on my nerves as well. Like, I'm not really, like, there's nothing really important has happened to the story, like, with him. He's just protecting her and the baby. That's it. So, whatever.
Alright, now, let's move on to Osha, and I forget the girl's name. That's the sister of the boy that can also like go into dreams like Bran. But they have a little banter back and forth, which I thought was hilarious because they was trying to like establish that female dominance from jump, and it just escalated, and Bran he pretty much shut that down. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought that was a good scene. Seeing Bran kind of take charge in a way, he's crippled and all that, but he still shows that he's got that leadership quality, that Stark blood running through him. So I thought that was neat. I also thought the boy having the visions was interesting. How he was having almost like a panic attack or something, like a heart attack or some shit. So when they do have the visions, it affects them in a way or something.
Yeah, because it could be a precursor to what eventually will happen to Bran. It'll kind of make him scared a little bit because he's like, I ain't trying to have no seizures. You know what I'm saying? She had to put a belt in his mouth, so I guess he wouldn't bite down on his tongue or whatever case. You know what I'm saying? So it was a little confusing, but you could see what he saw, what he said he saw was a vision of Jon, and it's very vague on the power set because I'm not sure how is it that he can see them. I don't understand it. Can he just go to anyone? Is it a link between the Stark family? It got to be something. It got to be some type of methodology behind it, because I don't know. He would be like infinitely smart if he could go infinitely anywhere, in people's minds and stuff. So I'm a little curious to see what that's about. But clearly it takes a toll on his body in some type of way. Now let's move on to Jon and Ygritte. Man, look, they be having some good dialogue. And he still is a little uncomfortable, like just the wildlings in general. They're a little more carefree in a way. They don't hold stuff back, and he's still like a little bit timid, bashful in a way. So those little moments were good, but I thought it was interesting that she brought up that she knows that he's not going to betray the crows. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like that a lot. I like the fact that she's like, don't betray me and stuff like that. She's kind of fully kind of falling for the guy. But at the same time, I like that she's not being kind of dumbfounded. Like, she's always been kind of smarter than Jon, because Jon, like she said, nothing, Jon Snow. So she's kind of smarter than Jon, and she knows how to kind of, I don't know, steer him in the direction she wants him to go in. So I thought that was really interesting. But at the same time, I think I keep forgetting the guy with the beard, his name.
The one that told him not to make sure his metal was deep in there before he climbs.
Yeah, I get the feeling he's up to something suspicious. Something about him always doesn't sit right with me. I don't know.
Yeah. Plus, also the guy that was with him when he cut the line when they were climbing. I was like, now number one, let's just keep it real. We knew that nothing gonna happen at that point. At least I was fairly certain, and I turned out to be right. But but outside of that, I was like, okay, he got to die, like some kind of way, because after Jon and Ygritte get up there, okay, now we got to catch our breath. Of course, that's the first thing we got to do. But once you calm down and you got a sword in your hand, he got to die. And he was looking over at him because he left them to die, or he was going to sacrifice them and let them fall. And now they got back up to him and caught up to him and caught up to the person that almost killed him. That's a problem. You know what I'm saying? Right now, you know, all that matters to them is getting up there, and they're soaking it in right now, you know, the view and whatnot, which is something that John had already seen multiple times because he was already up there. But, you know, for her to see it, it was a little different. So you can see how, you know, just like people are skeptical of what's going on the opposite side of the wall, they're skeptical as well. You know what I'm saying? You go to one side, ain't nothing but snow. You go to one side, you got, you know, grasslands and, you know, flowing marshes and fields and whatnot of flowers and shit. So, you know, it's a different feeling for both of them. So I liked how that went down.
That was very good.
Let's go ahead and move on to Arya. And I really like how no matter where Arya is, she gets some type of training from someone or some type of thing to help her along. And it always seems to be more of a battle thing. Either she's getting sword lessons, bow and arrow lessons, lessons from jocking, you know, and it seems like it's just a destiny that she is going to be a warrior. Like, she's infectious to most people because she's not girly, so she's not annoying in that way. And I think that the guys around her also look at her like, yeah, I can teach this little girl something. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what you think about that.
I like it a lot. I like also how her, like, she stands up when she believes in. Like, she, you know, she's around a group of people that she really don't know and killers and shit, and she's young as fuck still. But she still stands up, like, to the dude. Like, she's not afraid of them. Like, with Sansa in that situation, she would be more timid. But Arya is, like, going in on that. And I like that about her character. That's one of the reasons she's one of my favorite in this series to begin with.
Also, I like the part when she went up to Melisandre, because they go and take Gendry. Now, we'll get to that a little later. But when she goes up to Melisandre, she grabs her like, you know, hey, you know what's going on here? And Melisandre said, like, basically told her that she can see, you know, eyes looking back at her, you know, green eyes. She was naming them, right? And clearly, from what I understood from it, was that it was the three names she said when she was shooting the bow and arrow at that little dummy. You know, Joffrey, Cersei, stuff like that. And it was like, are you saying that she's destined to kill them? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. The way Melisandre said it, it was like she was looking into her soul and she could tell what she was going to do later. I thought that was very interesting.
That kind of reminded me of when she looked into, oh my goodness, getting his name.
Stannis?
Yeah, thank you. When she looked into Stannis' eyes, she kind of saw something. So I'm guessing her powers have something to do with looking into a person's soul and kind of reading it in a way. So, but she has to do it maybe through their eyes or something like that. Because when she looked into the guy who came back like 6 times, she was like, okay, you got a missing eye. She touched it. I don't think she could be able to read him.
Yeah, it was weird because when she came, you know, of course, Thoros and her, you know, they're talking, you know, they're talking up a little bit or whatever the case. And, you know, it was interesting because when she talked to Beric, it looked like he was a bit scared of her in a way because he was reaching for him to touch his face, his wounds and stuff, and he was just silent. It was kind of weird. I don't know. It was very weird to say the least. But and she also looked very shocked that he came back so many times.
I think the Lord of Light has something to do with the White Walkers. That's just me though. Some type of way I think that's connected, but that's just a theory I'm coming up with.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, that's all cool. But it definitely looks like it's more magic in here as well. Like, let's just look at like the one true Lord, as you know, Thoros said, is that like, well, I knew that this was the one true God. You know what I'm saying? Let's get into that a little bit because essentially, you know, a lot of people in religion in general is like they believe without ever saying anything. They just, you know, that's what the books say, so I gotta go to church.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it's a little different when you got things that nobody can refute. You got so many witnesses. You got, you got a circumstance that surely this man should have been killed. And yet, everybody witnesses it. Now, is that not proof enough? I would say so. I mean, that is just, that is just miraculous. You know what I'm saying? That's something that's just is irrefutable. So I would say, on a level, they probably are worshiping the one true God in Westeros. You know what I'm saying? Because from my recollection, no other god has been doing these things that the fire god has been doing. So I don't know. I find that very interesting.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's interesting, and I don't know what else to say about it. Maybe this Lord of Light, Lord of Fire has something to do with, maybe, like I said, the White Walkers, the dragons, or something. It's going to be interesting to see that play out.
Also, Melisandre took Gendry. It's weird because when she talked to Gendry, she told him something to the effect that he will make kings fall and rise. I mean, I forget exactly what she said, but she clearly knows his bloodline. Clearly.
I took that scene a little bit differently because I thought, Gendry can make weapons and stuff. I think what she meant was that, you can make weapons that pretty much kill anybody.
That's a way. That could be true.
That's what I took from that scene, but it could be something else. Maybe she saw something else in him that we didn't get to expound upon in this episode. So yeah, that was really interesting.
Yeah, if it was just weapons, and she did, wouldn't Stannis know that he's Robb's bastard or Robert's bastard? I'm not sure if maybe he knows or not. I'm not sure of that, because are they going back to Stannis, or I'm not sure. So that's pretty much, he's gonna lose his head just off jump as soon as it gets found out. I don't know. Very, very peculiar, I have to say. But let's go to Theon. You want to take that?
Yeah, the whole thing with Theon is, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. Like, it's interesting, but it's just torture. And it seems like the show is trying to make us care for the character, but I don't give a shit about Theon. Like, when he gets tortured, I'm like, you deserve it, motherfucker. But I'm interested. I mean, we found out what the other guy was and stuff like that, because he played a little game with him. He's like, if you can figure out who I am, I won't cut your pinky off. And Theon basically makes a couple of guesses, and he gets the guess right, and then the guy still cuts his pinky. So it's like, I don't know what he's trying to get at that.
Yeah, because just when it seemed like Theon was getting to some answers, and us too, as to who this guy actually was, he's like, I was lying. So I'm like, holy shit, is he just fucking around or what? So I'm not sure if what was said is he's actually, from the Karstarks, or is he actually from them and he lied about it, or did he lie about everything and he's from somewhere totally different? You know what I'm saying? I'm not really sure. So, he's definitely taking pleasure in this, but where's everyone else? Why is he the only one there, torturing this guy? What about everybody else that wants to torture Theon, Very weird, man. Very weird indeed. Let's go to Robb's little conference with the Frey sons. And basically, the cousin has to marry one of the daughters. Lord Frey, he wants Castle Harrenhal, after the war is over and whatnot. And he wants an apology, so, from Robb. Now, to be honest, I really thought that it would be a much more severe punishment to Robb for breaking that vow. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, because everybody's, the Freys are not to be trifled with. So I'm thinking, on top of what was put on the table, something else has to be going on. I mean,
I agree. I didn't buy that for a second. I'm like, they're trying to set him up for something. Maybe trying to kill Robb, or maybe trying to kill his mother or something. It's definitely more behind the table.
Yeah, it's like everything was so calm and cool. Oh, I just want an apology. Well, an apology to me is your head. Probably something like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It just seems so...
too good to be true.
Yeah. Because I'm like, okay, Castle Harrenhal, you can have that. I don't want dragon-scorched castle. Go ahead and do what you will. So, I don't know. I'm very interested nonetheless, though, because something's definitely going on. And I don't know. It's weird. I thought it was a little weird that they didn't immediately bring up how the circumstances were off, seemed to be not right. I don't know. Maybe something will come of it. Maybe I'm
the last time we saw Lord Frey, that motherfucker just reminded me of Crooked, this old, decrepit, pissed off old man. So I'm like, he ain't old. Moving
on to Jaime and Bolton. Now, he is allowed to go back to King's Landing. And Bolton, he's very... A lot of people... I don't know. He seems to be playing both sides. Everybody wants to see how they can get the most return on their investment, on whatever they have, So he wants to see who's going to pay more for Jaime. Are you going to go here and get more or go here? It doesn't matter if it's going to Robert or to your father. It doesn't matter. Who paying the most? It seems logical in the world that they're living in. I don't know. It seems not to be doing his duty to Robb. Also, Brienne is getting shafted in this deal as well.
It was interesting. I just don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the character is trying to do. I don't trust him. But then again, Jaime, I don't know. The last episode, let me just mention this real quick. The last episode kind of made me feel sorry for Jaime, and I'm like, am I feeling sorry for this motherfucker? Yes, I am.
I thought it was funny with like he was cutting the meat and he couldn't cut it because he had one hand. Oh man, that was hilarious. But I don't know, and then he was just insisting on just making as much noise as possible. Very funny, man.
And he's still relying on his father. Like, he's like, yeah, my father's gonna pay this much for you. I'm like, you still haven't learned your lesson, have you? And the character even says it himself. Like, you still haven't learned your lesson.
It's in a world where just money rules all, man, and whoever got the most, you can afford to be the biggest dicks in Westeros. There you go. Now, let's move on to the Queen of Thorns and, Tywin. Now, this was a chess match of wits, of which I enjoyed quite thoroughly. Oh man, this was tick for tack, pretty much. Oh man, she's quick.
Yeah.
She's really quick. Oh yeah. Tywin thought that he could just run through her. Yeah, she ain't for that. Yeah, I really like that interaction. Everything's come to a head. Basically, hey, I know what you're trying to do, and I'm going to stop that right now. And here's what I'm going to do. Here's my proposal. Here's how it's going down. And this the conversation of just logic and just the little gay conversation they had was funny as hell. And she called out the bullshit about Jaime and Cersei. And basically, I think she's thinking like us in the fact that, number one, it's fucking obvious. Why do your kids have blonde hair? Let's just break it down to bare fucking minimums. And you know what I'm saying? And she, it's like she knows. That was entertaining to watch, man. What'd you think about that, man?
I love the part. And I also love how she's like, as a little boy, you never did this to other boys because it's like you look around. I was like, oh damn, she getting him.
Never.
And I think that
motherfucker
probably did.
I'm sure.
He just seemed like a big hypocrite. He probably is in the inside. He tries to be all tough and shit, like the alpha lion, but in the inside, he probably just as, I don't know, fucked up as Jaime and Cersei.
And you know what? At the end of that, basically they want to sign, basically an agreement on that. This is what's going to happen. And she broke the pen. She definitely didn't seem to be falling for that. I don't know. It's just, man, the Game of Thrones, man, it's just like chess, man, I gotta say. Let's move on to Loras and Sansa. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. It was pretty awkward. It was a very short scene. Awkward nonetheless, because he don't like the Punani. He likes Dika.
Otherwise, he would have gotten something right there, because she was all happy. I'm like, yeah.
Pretty much, what I'm saying? That nothing will come of that. Now, when you move on to Tyrion and Cersei, they got good dialogue only when both of them are in the same position of when they have to help each other, or really they're in a position but the only one they can talk to about it is them because, they can't really talk to nobody else about it. But I thought it was interesting how, and at this point nonetheless, she pretty much, confirmed that Joffrey, they tried to have him killed on the battlefield, pretty much. I don't even know if I can look someone in the face after that, man.
I don't know, because I mean, Cersei, yeah, she's a bitch. I mean, Tyrion pretty much says, look, in a nutshell, he was pretty much like, look, you don't like me, you want to get me killed, am I still in danger? Just tell me that, and I'll move on. I don't care what happened to you, and you don't care what happened to me. Let's just put it all on the table and move on.
They're like, Jaime's out there. You know what I'm saying? At this point, it's almost like certain that really they don't know for sure if he's dead or alive, but
right.
I guess they're just hoping for that or whatever. I don't know. Very interesting nonetheless, but I think what was more interesting was what went on was when Tyrion basically had to go in and tell Sansa what was really going down. Now, that was and then Shae was there, so you know, it was that extra awkwardness because Tyrion was trying to get her out of there in the most, you know, dismissive way, but yet both Sansa and Shae were insisting on staying in there to hear what was going on. Okay, well, you asked for it. Now, man, you can, even though it wasn't, you know, we didn't need to be in on that conversation because we knew what the outcome was going to be. And, you know, I didn't really, I thought that it was effective nonetheless. You know, I would have liked to hear the dialogue in that scene, the reactions and whatnot, but we seen the immediate reaction. Oh, God. But, you know, the ship going off, that was the Tyrell ship, correct? So everyone was leaving. Everyone was leaving after that. So she didn't sign the document or the treaty or whatever. They just left. So now she's back in the clutches of Joffrey. You know what I'm saying? Now, speaking of Joffrey, yeah, you know what? We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. Let's move on to Lord Varys and Littlefinger. Now, you know, they're foiling of each other like a couple of arch nemesis. You know, it's entertaining at times. People cry, people laugh, people gloat, whatever, right? But man, what Littlefinger had done to Raz.
Yeah, pretty much, Varys tried to play Littlefinger, and this time Littlefinger played him back in a much more deeper way. Basically, he said something about, they were talking about chaos, and he said something about how Varys said chaos is very chaotic, basically, but Littlefinger was pretty much like, no, chaos is a ladder. And he said he had a friend do something to Raz. And basically it was, Joffrey pretty much put arrows in her, and that's it. Like, she's dead.
Oh man, it was so disturbing. And you know, on top of the Tyrells leaving, of which Joffrey was, you know, fond of Marjorie. Alright. Was very fond of her. And it was like immediately he needed something to take his anger out on. You know what I'm saying? Oh man. And when Littlefinger said, like, the realm isn't a pit, it's a ladder.
Right.
I was like, holy shit, because just his metaphor, the way it's a ladder, and a lot of people he said all that matters is the climb. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, holy, like everybody you're even climbing physically, like Jon, mentally, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, Sansa and a lot of other characters, metaphorically, you know, through the realm and kings and whatnot, spiritually, you're climbing. Oh man, like that was just that great. Monologue at the end was just killer. I was like, holy shit, Littlefinger, I think you broke through to me. You broke through. I understand you now. You're evil, however.
Right, yeah.
I can't disagree. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, it was just ridiculous. And seeing Raz strung up like that,
I was a little choked up when I thought. I know the book fans hate her, but I like it.
Yeah, that's why I brought that up, because I know a lot of fans like, she's not in the book, so you know what up? You know, I don't know. We wouldn't have got this awesome scene had it not been for her being there. So whether you like her or not, it facilitated a powerful outcome to this scene with Joffrey doing that to her, showing the body, you know, having her as an informant for Varys. You know, all of that adds up. And maybe people just ain't like, oh, it's another whore that's been given a main role pretty much. But she proved to be more than that and a good addition to the show, in my opinion, which, you know, I ain't read the book, so my opinion don't matter much anyway to y'all. A lot of y'all anyway. So, you know, it is what it is. But, oh man, I'm sad to see her go, man. Sad to see her go.
Me too.
This was a great episode, guys. 6 episodes in. I can't believe we only got a couple episodes left. Ridiculous.
God.
Ridiculous.
Quick.
Oh man, they got the budget. They going in. They going in. You know what I'm saying? I want to see. I want to see some dragons. Let them get a little bit bigger. Let them get just a bit bigger. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, I want to see it. Especially that monologue at the end. Oh man, it just summed up everything.
And the visuals in here, like that scene where we get to see the look over the wall and stuff, like that's great.
Well, this is Rotten 33. Holla at your boy.
It's your boy Zip Laguri. See y'all next week.
Peace.